Well, hey guys, Chris and Eric here once again. Welcome to Chris and Eric Talk. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you?
You're a little darker this week, I noticed.
Yeah, I broke my light.
That's okay.
I want to say it was VR headset related, but it wasn't.
So you got your headset
Yeah.
to follow up on that from last week's conversation.
Yeah, it's very nice.
There you go. So before we get started here, a couple of quick announcements as far as what's happening this week. Due to work schedule conflicts, there will be no Super Nintendo Melee stream on Wednesday. The next game in line is, of course, The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. And I have to close on Wednesday and then open on Thursday. And that would be like maybe a 1-hour stream, and I'd be starting late. So I've just decided to push it back a week. No idea what I'm going to play on Thursday. I'm not going to push it back till then, but I got the spooky games loaded up now. So I'm looking for something spooky to play for Halloween season. Friday, October 21st here in Lancaster, I'm going to be at my first pro wrestling show since before COVID. February 29th, 2020 to be exact. Three Legacies Wrestling, a brand new startup right here in Lancaster. If anybody is watching who is local and would like to come out, tickets are on sale. The promotion is ran by Jesus Rodriguez, better known as Ricardo Rodriguez in the WWE. A really nice, cool guy, and I'm excited to help him out and get this promotion off the ground. So let's see wrestling back in Lancaster. If there's going to be any broadcast or anything going on, I'll announce that on here so you guys can check that out. And then Saturday, November 5th, is Extra Life 2022 right here on Twitch from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. I will be streaming. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to beat my goal last year, Eric.
What was your goal?
Last year, I think I got $300 in donations. This year, I'm going to go for $5.
Okay.
I'm also doubling the stream. I did 4 hours. Now we're going to do 8, so... but the plan is I'm going to have 8 games lined up for 1-hour blocks apiece. And I'll announce the first game that's going to be on the list. This is in case I don't get anybody to join me for anything multiplayer, i.e. no Fall Guys or Among Us or anything like that. The first game I have chosen is Pokemon Gold and Silver. You remember Pokemon Gold and Silver, right?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
In
I
a
was
lot of
still
ways.
playing Pokemon then. I feel like we all played Pokemon to a point, then it dropped off, then we came back.
I think everybody did.
Yeah.
Like anybody who used to play eventually came back. To me, it was, in a lot of ways, it still is the best Pokemon game. I'm going to get the Nintendo 64 hooked up to the capture card between now and then. And another game I'm looking at playing is going back to a little GoldenEye and a little Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr. with the 1998 New York Yankees. So that's on the agenda. So in case nobody can join me for anything multiplayer, that's how we're going to do it. And I'm either going to, once I settle in, I'm either going to settle in on the PC or I'm going to settle in downstairs on the couch. And once I've chosen, I'm not switching. So, just saying. But the Among Us streams, we're trying to do another one in October. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you guys for continuing to support everything. It means a lot to us here. I just pulled up another window here because Eric and I have some stuff we need to talk about this week. We promised you guys last week things were going to get controversial. And that's what we're going to do this week. You remember Park Hopper, the podcast we were going to get off the ground? We were just going to do a Disney-themed show. And then we kind of just ended up doing this, and it spiraled into Disney again because that's what we know. Well, we're going to bring that back, and we're going to do a Park Hopper-themed episode of Chris and Eric Talk. We're going to go through every single attraction in the history of the Magic Kingdom, past and present, or at least the past ones that we know and have been on. And we're going to rank them. We're going to tell you what the good stuff is, and we're going to tell you what the bad stuff is. And
The bad stuff is still there.
some of the
Kind
bad stuff is still there, yeah. And we're going to make some enemies. I think we're going to make some enemies because our opinions might not gel with everybody else's.
Now, Magic Kingdom is the family friendliest of all the parks.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a whole lot of height requirements. There are now, right?
Yes. Space Mountain, Seven Dwarves Mine Train, Thunder, those have height requirements. The bigger rides,
and they have before, right? But like for a majority of the rides, there weren't any height requirements. That was one of the big things, at least for Fantasyland, was that every ride in Fantasyland had like the smallest of height requirements, if any. If that makes any sense.
Right.
And I say the smallest of height requirements because technically there weren't any. Like you could do Dumbo and there was no height requirement as long as the adult was with them and the adult was on the outside, that type of thing. Same thing with like Small World. Yeah, it is a ride, but it's a boat ride, so don't throw your baby overboard. You'll be fine.
Can we just give a quick piece of advice? Don't touch water on Disney property.
Do not. Oh my god.
Don't touch the water on any attractions.
If you accidentally get some in your mouth, go to the hospital immediately.
Oh,
you need a tetanus shot right away.
HH2 News wants to know every ride is for babies.
Every ride is for babies.
Yes.
Indeed.
And good Simpsons reference. I am the Lizard Queen because... Do you know that Simpsons reference?
I do not.
Of course not. Well, I don't expect you to know Simpsons references because you don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of that show like I do, which is terrifying, by the way. I'm not recommending that kind of knowledge that I have about that show. But they go to Duff Gardens, and they do another parody of Disney because it's a theme park. And Bart dares Lisa to drink the water on the Small World ripoff ride that they're on. And she does, and she starts having basically goes on an acid trip. And when they pull her out of the water and return her later, she's like super pale, wrapped in a towel. And they're like, yeah, we found this one swimming in the pool. And she just goes, I am the Lizard Queen. Good God. Yes. Yeah, don't touch the water. Don't drink the water. Just don't.
Just don't. There's a lot of things. First off, a lot of fingers have been severed in some of the water bits, and yeah, so there's blood mixed with the water. No, you can't really tell because it's diluted, and they do clean them. They do filter the water, which I like really surprises me. I didn't know that there's like a giant filtration system, but it's still nasty as hell. Plus, if you ever go to Small World, there's coins everywhere. People just toss their coins in there. They
like it's a fountain at the mall.
Yeah, so I'm just like, and you know how people are with their money. Like, money is literally probably the dirtiest thing on the planet.
Yeah, because it's
of all the hands that it's touched.
No, I think they actually did that in like Mythbusters or something. Like, what's the dirtiest thing that you can touch throughout the course of the day, and that was one of them. So,
yeah. Ugh. So, and all that is in the water.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through the list. We're going to go from area to area. And if we can't rank something, we won't rank it. And if we have stories about each ride, we'll tell some stories along the way. So when we get to Fantasyland, Eric, just go nuts.
All right.
Because you worked at Magic Kingdom. I never did. I never wanted to. That was the one park I never wanted to work at. No matter
Nobody
what.
ever wants to work at it. Now, I will say that
that's not
I
true.
feel like it should be a requirement to work at Magic Kingdom for at least the first 6 months of you being hired, whatever it is. I feel like it is mandatory. It should be like military basic training, but for cast members.
My old coordinator, shout out to Michael P. if he is watching this, because he'd worked there forever, and he said the same thing. He said every single cast member should work 1 year at Magic Kingdom required.
Yeah, I agree with that.
No, I'm totally cool with the much more laid back Epcot and Animal Kingdoms.
Oh yeah,
Animal Kingdom was hot, but it was laid back.
You know, here's one thing that I will say about working at the Magic Kingdom versus working the other parks. You get away with a lot more at Magic Kingdom than you do the other parks.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
See, I would think you would get away with a lot less at Magic Kingdom.
Appearance wise and stuff like that, yeah, you can get away with a lot less. But think of what it takes to work at the Magic Kingdom. Now think of who actually wants to work at the Magic Kingdom and the retention. So,
okay.
You know, if you're 20 minutes, like if you took a 20-minute break on a 15-minute break, if you took 20 minutes on a 15-minute break anywhere else, they'd yell at you, right? And you would get yelled at Magic Kingdom, but no one's sitting down and writing you up for it. Like they'll just be like, the fuck, dude, hurry up. Like sign in. And that's it. That's the end of it. Not like other parks where after you do that so often, someone's talking to you. You know what I mean? And like right. And putting it down in a record. So that's what I meant by like you can get away with a lot over there.
So real quick before we get started, something I learned when I pulled this list up, Jon Favreau, who we all know and love because of his work with Marvel and Star Wars, he is helping to helm a film script about a family who goes to the Magic Kingdom and everything comes to life. And at first I was like, well, that's just Kingdom Keepers. But I think it's going to be somewhat of an original story. And I'm like, that sounds like a fun family film. Until I realized Small World is in Magic Kingdom, and thus now I think it's a horror movie.
Yeah, it can go either way.
Would you care to... Yeah, I was going to say, what's your feedback on that one?
Well...
As long as the dolls have their faces on, I suppose.
Right? And you don't see the back of it. I feel like if they just stay on stage, you'll be all right. The moment you step backstage, it's a horror show.
It's a horror show. All right. We're going to start off in Main Street, USA. Not a whole lot of actual attractions there, but it does have the Walt Disney World Railroad. And you can actually use that to get around the parks. But it's also kind of an attraction. It's got some voiceovers and some animatronics and stuff on it. So... how would you rate the railroad as a whole?
On a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being the most thrilling ride, 1 being the least thrilling ride, it's a 2.
Okay. Let's do. Yeah, I think 1 through 5 will be a good ranking system for this. So so 5 is the good one.
5 is the good one. Okay. 1 is the bad one.
5 stars.
As far as like
okay.
Thrilling, right?
Okay. So
I would say it is a 2. It is not very thrilling. It is a sit down. However, in terms of like accessibility and
practicality,
it is neat and practicality. It's a 4. It's like it's almost near a 5. Because by the time you're getting to a stop, and chances are you're not going to the train station at Main Street, right? You're jumping on somewhere else.
Right.
So when you're tired, and let's say you just got off of Thunder Mountain, right? There's a station over there.
You want to go to Space Mountain now.
You get to see the rest of the park, which is really cool. So scenery and everything, you get to relax. It's not a thrilling ride, so there's no risk of like throwing up because of the ride. You can still throw up for other things, mainly heat stroke because fuck Florida.
You had too many corn dog nuggets at Casey's.
Yeah. So in that, I want to say it's not a bad ride.
Okay.
I'd give it my overall score, 3 out of 5.
Okay. So, because that's what HH2 News just asked in the comments. Are we doing thrilling or good? We're ending with good. We're gonna do thrill levels. We're gonna do,
we'll do like
we'll end with
thrill. How about this? Thrill, theming, and an overall.
Okay. So it kind of average itself out, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the theming it's pretty cool. Like every time it stops somewhere, the theme is it's a train station. It's kind of hard to fuck that up.
And the train stations are themed too. Like the Frontierland station is themed. So.
And then the fact that it's actually steam powered.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not. There's no electric rails, right? It's not a modern day monorail. Basically, it is a steam powered locomotive, and that in itself is pretty fucking baller.
By the way, the Disney monorail would be a -1 when it comes to actual practicality just because of the line and the obnoxiousness to get on it. But that thing is a goddamn 4.5 once you're actually sitting on it.
Yeah, if you can get a seat.
If you can get a seat, exactly. It's like, in the comments, it's like starting with the winding river at a water park.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I don't think people really start there. Or at least they
to me,
shouldn't.
It's an end of the day thing. To me, it's like wherever I'm at, because you're either going to end in Frontierland, right? Or you're going to end in Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
And then you just catch the train station that's nearby and go to... If you do the park counterclockwise, which I would recommend, right? I know you would do it clockwise.
Right.
But I think if you do it counterclockwise and you end up around Frontierland by the end of the day, then when you do take the train ride, you get to sit and relax longer because of the direction that the train's going.
Because the train only moves in one direction.
Correct.
And it moves clockwise.
Correct.
Around the park. Okay. You want to go to Widdershins? More comment. Hilarity. Okay. So, not, like I said, not too much going on in Main Street. That's the only real, like, attraction. The other things they have listed are, like, the Main Street vehicles, the Town Square Theater. We're not going to really talk about that stuff. One thing I will discuss, I never played it before, but they used to have Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, which was, like, their own little version of Magic the Gathering that you could do throughout the parks, which doesn't exist anymore. But I feel like that could have been a good time if people were into that sort of thing and they had the cards for it. I actually do have a couple of cards that I've acquired along the way, and I was looking to just get rid of them. So they're on eBay for $1. It's the Blue Fairy. And I have Wally over here somewhere. This isn't it, but I have these too, so those are on eBay. This is the part of the show where I break into what's for sale on eBay. Oh, I also have a bunch of these that I'm never going to do anything with, so I need to get rid of these too.
Is that the Dragon Ball ones?
Yeah, these are the Dragon Ball Z card game.
Like the old school Dragon Ball Z?
Orange Tripping Drill, yeah.
Oh my god.
I only have a handful of them, but I'll figure out something to do with them at some point. All right, so let's move on to Adventureland.
Okay, we're going clockwise, I see.
Now, there really isn't much to talk about as far as former attractions go. So we're going to talk about the current attractions, and we're not going to talk about the Pirate Adventure Treasures of the Seven Sea, because that's kind of not really much of an attraction. We're going to talk about the main 5 that are there. So let's start off with what I think is one of the most classic attractions in all of Disney, the Jungle Cruise.
Ah, the Jungle Cruise.
The world-famous Jungle Cruise. My old rivalry, by the way, because we had a rivalry between skippers and safari drivers. Because our animals were real, but they got to be funny.
Well,
that's literally what the rivalry was based on, apparently.
In your defense, your animals were funny.
My animals were way funnier. They did all kinds of things that I will never, ever get out of my brain. I still see some of that stuff to this day.
Um, Jungle Cruise to me is a great ride, but in the thrilling aspect, it's also a 2. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a thrill ride. Right? It's very slow. The theming on the ride itself, I want to say it's variable, right? Because it really depends on your skipper.
The theming goes between 3 and 5. You get the
Correct.
right skipper, and that could be an easy 5 for theming. But you get the wrong skipper, and it ruins the experience. And that is a good thing to bring up right now, because as you know, every spieling attraction has that potential handicap. Every spieling
Yes.
attraction.
Yes.
Because you're either going to get somebody who's really good, or you're going to get somebody who's phoning it in, and it's going to ruin the experience. Hit or miss.
Yeah. So I would also say that it has to be the same for the overall score, right? Because you can go on there. If you already know that it's not a thrilling ride, the rest of it really just depends down onto the theming and to your skipper. So if you have a great skipper, you're gonna have a great time. If you don't, you're gonna have a bad time, like you said. So
Yeah.
I can't honestly rate it. It's either going to be a 3 or a 5, like you said.
I'm going to give it a 4. I'm
You're
going
gonna
to
give
meet
it
in
a
the middle, and
4.
I'm going to give it a solid 4. Um, and for me, how my ranking is going to go, 5 are things that I do every single time I go, regardless. To me, that's a 5. I'm in Magic Kingdom. I have to do this thing. That's a 5. 4 would be Jungle Cruise. I'd really like to do it, but it's going to depend on what else I can get done, what the line looks like, etc. But I'm going to prioritize it. 3 is the same thing but without a priority behind it.
Yeah.
I'll do it if I can, but I'm not going to lose sleep over if I can't do it. 2s are things that I'm probably only going to do if somebody else really wants to do it. I'm not necessarily choosing to do it. Or it's really just being done as a time killer. And then a 1 is something I just am not going to do. That's going to be how I'm going to rate this. Jungle Cruise is a 4 then.
Okay. So I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon and also give it a 4
Okay.
because it. It would be higher, to be perfectly honest, but again, it
Yes.
all depends.
And that's another thing. We should kind of tell people who aren't familiar with what some of these rides are, give them just a little bit of history or just a little bit of a background. But Jungle Cruise is basically you're going on a tour of the jungle, and it's supposed to be funny. You're supposed to run into these animals. They're all animatronics, but the skippers have jokes. They're very corny dad style jokes, but they hold
Mm-hmm.
up. They do hold up.
It was a story at one point where like there were poachers involved or whatever, or poachers, but I don't know if they still have that
I
in
I
the.
think there's well, because I know when they did the poacher scene for Safari, I know there was like some kind of a ripoff accusation or whatever, but I know there's still something going on with the rhinos are chasing the guys up the pole, and I think those might have been poachers. But
Uh, yeah, one of my all-time favorite jokes that you're never gonna hear anymore was about the Indian tribe, the Fagarwi tribe. Um, where they were going through and they're just like, yes, it's called the Fagarwi tribe, and then they're right over there, and then there's nothing there, and go, oh, we're the Fagarwi.
oh, yeah, that ain't gonna fly.
No,
That
but
ain't gonna
it
fly.
was great.
Uh, all right. Next ride we're going to talk about is the Magic Carpets of Aladdin. So, real quick, this is basically a carnival ride.
Yes.
You get on a thing, it spins in circles, and it stops. This is a ride specifically designed for little kids who can't make height requirements.
I'm going to go ahead and say, with the exception of one, all of them we should just clump them all together.
Well, no, and I have a reason for that.
Okay.
This one, I'm honestly going to give a 1.5.
Yeah, it's bad. it's fucking bad. As
There's
far as
nothing
thrills go,
there's nothing special about it, and you can ride the same thing 2 other times in the park and get history or more of a thrill. So you can actually skip this one entirely. This is only if you have a little kid who really wants to go on it and it's going to make them happy, take them on it. Otherwise, don't do it.
this is one of those things where, yeah, if you have a kid and you happen to be in the area and you need a little break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no line. Go ahead.
Because basically the ride is you're on a bench, right? You're just a bench. It's a bench.
It's the flying carpet, but yeah, it's a bench.
It's a bench.
Also, the Aladdin voiceover is not even... I know they don't get the actual actors, but, like, at least try harder. They just got some generic guys like, hey, it's me, Aladdin. And he has to say that, because you wouldn't have known who the hell it was if he didn't, so... Good job, Rob wants to know, isn't there a funny joke with the announcement going to be in Spanish or something? I think he's referring back to the Jungle Cruise. You familiar with that one?
There? No, not that I know
we need to ask a skipper that one. Hashtag ask a skipper. Well, we know skippers. We know people who did it, so
yeah,
somebody will answer that. All right, let's talk about Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room.
Let's not. Let's just skip over that one too.
I'll actually give this one a 2.
I'm okay. First off, I forgot to give the rating for the other one. It's 2 because it's still a moving ride.
I'm sorry. It was from the genie or something. I actually don't know. We don't pay attention to Aladdin that much. Sorry, Rob.
Yeah.
just don't do it. Skip.
So the Aladdin ride, I'm going to give a 2 for thrill, a 2 for theming, and an overall of...
Yeah, it's not even well themed.
It's not. It's just out there.
Yeah. Also, Adventureland is very jungle based, and Aladdin takes place in the desert. So.
And I hate sand.
Why?
Because it's rough and coarse and gets everywhere. Anyway,
you weren't getting away without saying that. You know that. So here's the thing with the Tiki Room. Here's why I give it a 2. This is a good spot to sit down in air conditioning and rest and figure out what you're going to do in the park. That's why I would recommend the Tiki Room.
You know where else is a good place to like rest and plan out your day at the park? The monorail before you get into the park.
Yeah.
The car before you get to the park.
You think people do that?
No.
Let's be honest here. Yeah, Tiki Room is an OG. You are correct, Daniel. But yeah, it's just singing parrots. That's honestly all it is. Yeah. And I actually didn't mind when they did the under new management gimmick, which it had Zazu from The Lion King and Iago from Aladdin, and gave it a little more of a Disney edge to it. Then they kind of took that away, and it's OG. I don't know if it was the first audio animatronics. I think that might still be Carousel Progress, but no, it was fun. It's okay for if there's no line and you just want to sit down for a minute, go for it. It's a 2. It's definitely a 2.
A thrill ride or thrill level 1.
Thrill level 1, but 3 for theming. It's very well themed.
It is very well themed.
It's well themed.
It is a 3 for theming. I would give it a 4 when they did the Aladdin thing.
Yeah.
Overall,
it's tropical. It fits with Adventureland. Yeah.
Overall,
all right.
It's a 2.
There's 2 left. One's a 5 and one's a 1. So let's just get the 1 out of the way. The Swiss Family Treehouse.
Oh yeah, I don't even consider that a ride.
Well, it's not a ride. It's an attraction.
It's not even an attraction because it's attracting nobody.
You walk through it. It's just a big. It's the line ride.
It's a line ride,
except it goes through a treehouse.
It's a simulation of a line.
This one I give it a 1. It's not even worth it, even if you have kids, because it's not like there's a lot of stuff for them to do along the way. Like, yeah, you're kind of climbing around and everything, but honestly, you could like do that anywhere. So it's not like it's a playground or anything. You're standing the whole time. You're outside in the Florida heat. F minus. Dan gives it. I agree. Swiss Family Treehouse is one of the worst attractions in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, it's a 1.
Pirates.
Now, Thrill level for pirates is not high. Nothing in Magic Kingdom is going to be high.
Not
So I
really.
would give this a 3 for like thrills. But the theming and the overall like experience is what boosts it to be a 5.
It's a 5. This is one of those attractions, no matter what, every time I've ever gone to Magic Kingdom, I 100% go on Pirates. Every time.
And I feel like every time there's a new Pirates movie, they do something to it.
Yeah. There's 4 Jack Sparrows in there, I think. And what I kind of like is when they added the new audio for Jack Sparrow, it's nice and crisp and clean, and then you hear the audio that's been there since the 70s. It's so obviously old.
You hear the popping and crackling and yeah.
Yeah. But no, Pirates is an easy 5. It's a highly recommended ride. Everybody who ever goes to Magic Kingdom needs to go on it.
Hot, cold, raining, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You have to go on
inside, and it's great.
The only thing I can actually say negative about it is if you're in the wrong part of the boat when the cannonballs go off, you get splashed.
Yeah.
It's like the only negative thing.
Discussed why you shouldn't touch Disney water.
And then you're dead. So R.I.P.
Yeah.
1 like equals 1 prayer. Yes, there are in fact real skeletons in that ride. That is a real statistic. And one of my other favorites is that on occasion... Oh, this is where I got the 4 Jacks from. There's actually 3 Jack Sparrows. But on occasion, if you see a 4th one, it actually is Johnny Depp in full costume. And he does sporadically make appearances in there. In fact, the Jack Sparrow at Mickey's Not So Scary, if you see that on Halloween night, there's a chance that's actually Johnny Depp in the costume. Because he just loves playing that character. So, there you go. All right.
Although I'm not sure he'll be able to do that anymore, but...
Nobody's pooping in his bed.
Yeah.
How would you rate Adventureland overall?
Overall?
On a 1 through 5 scale here.
I would give it a solid 3 because there's 2 rides that I absolutely love in this land.
Pirates and Jungle Cruise.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, the rest of it can kind of go away, but like, it's a 3 because there is a 5 there, and there's another one that has the possibility of being a 5, depending on...
You get the right skipper at the right time.
Yeah, and the right day, because I don't like going on a Jungle Cruise when it's raining either.
No. Outdoor attraction. Okay. Yeah. Adventureland has been concluded. Let's move on to Frontierland.
Frontierland, one of the better lands.
Now, I can't really talk too much about Tom Sawyer Island, because there's... I know the boat still exists, but I don't think you can actually do the island anymore. So the boat is kind of just like there, and I know people ride it, but I really... skip it pretty much all the time. So
are they not letting people back onto the island?
I don't know if they are or not. I honestly don't know anymore. But
well, let's rate it for when it was there.
2 to 3.
Like yeah, good theming. Again, not a ride, so the thrill level I'd give it a 1.
You just get on a boat,
right?
And you kind of explore the island. So,
but even the boat is not part. Like that's just transportation to there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, meh.
Take it or leave it. I'd leave it because I'm not a big fan of walking around.
All right.
For my own entertainment.
We'll skip the arcade. We won't talk about the railroad a second time. So we've got... Let's do Splash Mountain first.
Okay.
Let's do Splash Mountain first. So we have to kind of discuss the current iteration of Splash Mountain, which I know they are changing over to be a Princess and the Frog theme. But the original Splash Mountain was themed after Song of the South, which was not released on American Home Video, or if it was rare release. That was not due to Uncle... I think it's Remus is the character. That was always the big controversy, was he was too racist. It was too much of a racist thing, and he was the reason. No, it was because of the Tar Baby skit is actually why they refused to release that. But you cut that out, and you just kind of put it out there. The music, the movie itself was meh, but the music was pretty good. The Zippity Doo Dah song will get stuck in your head for days.
Yeah.
But one thing I never quite understood was Disney's insistence on running with the Briar characters when nobody really knew who they were. Theming wise, I can't really give it too high of a ranking. I'll go with a 3, and that's just because it's based on too many characters that people just aren't familiar with.
Okay, I'll give you that. But I feel like the theming is good for what it is. Just because like we don't understand or get the characters doesn't mean like nothing really felt out of place, really.
And Zippity Doo Dah is through the whole ride, so
right.
All right, maybe I'll say 3.5.
Yeah, I'll give the theming a 4. Like it's a solid 4.
Okay.
The ride itself is on the more thrilling side, but it's still not a roller coaster, right? So I'm gonna give that a 3.
See, I'm gonna disagree with you on that one and actually go with a 4. And I'm only doing it as a 4 comparatively speaking to what else is in Magic Kingdom, because if we're doing it based on if you're doing it based on what else we have to work with here, the 5s are going to be the coasters,
the mountains. Yeah.
But this one is more of a 4 because it only has, well, it's got one big drop, it's got a couple of smaller drops in between. You will get wet, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. Especially if people are assholes.
Yes. So Splash for me overall always got a 4. And it was a 4 based on, do I want to get wet? If I want to get wet, it's a hot day and I don't care, yeah, I'm going to go on Splash. If I'm not feeling the water ride aspect of it, then I usually would end up skipping it. So maybe even between 3 and 4 for Splash.
So
it's very, very mood-based attraction. But fun. Good music. Fun to ride. And the drop isn't that bad.
No, it's not. That's why I gave it a 3. As far as like intensity but I think it's a solid like 3.5. It's between a 3 and a 4 for sure.
Yeah. And you know what? It is actually kind of funny too, because even if you don't know the characters, you can follow the story pretty easily.
Yeah.
The wolf and the bear are trying to get the rabbit. The rabbit outsmarts them. It's a Looney Tunes cartoon. So yeah, so that kind of wraps up Splash. Let's talk about Thunder. This was a personal favorite of mine when I was a kid.
Yes.
Thunder is
great.
So this wasn't my first roller coaster because we had Hershey Park closer. But this is the first coaster I ever felt an attachment to.
It's really good for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're not going upside down or anything, but the thrill's there. So I'm going to give the thrill a 4. Right?
On a Magic Kingdom scale, it's a 5.
On a Magic Kingdom scale,
On an overall Disney World scale, it's a 4. So that's where we can kind of rate that. It is still a roller coaster. While it is an easygoing roller coaster, it's still a roller coaster.
We'll go with... I'll tell you what a 5 is on the Disney scale, right? For me, a 5 on the Disney scale is going to be Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yes. Okay. Because that is actually an intense coaster.
Right. So that's where I'm getting my 5 from. And then 1 is basically, it's not a ride you're walking through or you're sitting down and you're watching a show. So if it's a 2, it's basically bullshit. If it's 3, it's a ride. If it's 4, it's a good ride. If it's 5,
it's a thrilling ride.
Either Everest or Rock and Roller Coaster.
Everest, yeah. Everest is much more intense than Thunder. Thunder is a good roller coaster for younger kids who are tall enough to ride it because it isn't too intense. It doesn't have crazy drops, and it's got speed bursts and then it slows down. The theming's a 5.
Theming is a 5.
The theming is easily a 5 on Thunder. Like not even... There's no debate over that.
You can go into the line into Thunder Mountain, and you don't even feel like you're in Magic Kingdom anymore.
No, you feel like you're in the Old West. It's awesome. And you got the You know, howdy, partners. You're here to get on the wildest ride in the West. Oh, I love that. Yeah, Thunder's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. If I have one complaint about it, because it is an older ride, you can feel it being... It's not like a dangerous, rickety ride, but you can tell could be smoother. It's probably much smoother back in the day, and it is not anymore.
It's rough around the edges. Literally.
Which fits the theming. So... And that takes us to the Country Bear Jamboree.
Thrill 1. I don't even count it as a ride.
No, it's a show.
It's a show.
We're doing attractions, so we're covering shows as well.
Theming, I'll give it a 2. It's bad. Why is this here?
Dude, we're gonna make so many enemies right now because we have some Country Bear fans that are gonna be watching this episode.
The music is catchy.
See, I don't even think it is, but that's me. You know what? I cannot recall one song from that ride, so to me, that's not catchy.
Actually, yeah, you're right. I can't think of anything. I just know that they sing, and I feel like they just sing the same song.
The only good thing that ever came out of Country Bears is the fact that when they made the awful movie, Christopher Walken was in it. And he says one of the funniest lines, which wasn't supposed to be funny. But at the end, when the bears outsmart him, and he goes, "This is not over, bears!" But he says it like, "This is not over, bears!" Like, the Doug Walker, the Nostalgia Critic, reviewed it, and he goes, "It basically sounds like in the middle of the line, he just realized there were bears in the movie. This is not over, bears!" It's the only good thing that ever came out of that. I do not care for the Country Bear Jamboree. I will unabashedly give it a 1 and be done with it. No, okay, for me to actually fit my own theming, it has to be a 2. I will do it if I'm with people who are insistent on going on it, and I won't talk them out of it like I talked them out of the freaking treehouse.
I've learned something. I'm not going to attempt to talk anybody out of doing anything that they want to do.
Yes.
But I sure as hell probably won't join you.
Yeah, I will skip the Country Bears every time. I'm sorry if that's your thing, guys and girls. Specific guys and girls who I know are getting very upset right now as we're saying this. It's not my thing. It's never been my thing. I've always hated it. I hated it as a kid. I hated it again as an adult. I skip it every time. I legitimately don't even know where it is in Frontierland anymore because I never look for it.
I think it's at that restaurant out like in front of that restaurant.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry if that's your thing. It's not mine. Never will be. Spam me all you want with your hate mail, but it's not a thing. Did you just pull a knife out?
Yes.
Okay. So.
Oh, it's sticking.
Send your hate to Eric. There you go.
All right.
If you stab yourself live, I'm not editing it, just so you know.
Just keep it in.
I'm keeping it in. All right. Frontierland overall.
Again, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay. It's got because two of the more exciting rides.
Correct. And they're both pretty consistent. And the only time that they go down is during a thunderstorm. Really.
Correct. But you know what you're getting out of Thunder and Splash, for sure.
Correct.
And really, like I said, if Splash wasn't a water ride, I'd probably go on it every time. It's just that water factor. If it's a cold day, no. Like an actual cold day in Florida. Not
in March.
Not a cold day for the northern. All right, Liberty Square. So we already kind of talked about the riverboat, so we can skip that. Okay. There's 2 attractions here. Liberty Square is not going to get good on the overall scale. The Hall of Presidents.
Thrill, it's a 1.
It's a 1. It's a show. It's a theater show.
It is a show. The theming, however,
it's actually pretty good.
It's a 5.
You are in a Capitol style building. Like the inside looks like I'm not going to say
It's
the
like a
U.S.
museum.
Capitol, but yeah, it's designed to look like one of those government buildings. It's got the circular. I don't even know what you would call it, but like the giant atrium, the circular design on it. You feel like you're in. You could tell me, like you could shoot a scene in there and tell me that's the Capitol building or the White House, and I'd probably believe you. It's got photos of all the presidents and.
Um, no, I think it's like a museum because there is actually a portion of the carpet that came from the White House.
Yes, I believe you're right.
So like they got a lot of stuff there, but it's not a ride. It really is just it's a showpiece, is what it is.
You ever watch Modern Family?
No.
Oh, it's Jay Pritchett. That's Ed O'Neill's character. That's his favorite ride. When the episode where they go to Disneyland because it takes place in California, and they have a Hall of Presidents there too. He keeps going, "Hey guys, let's go on the Lincoln thing." He keeps saying it over and over again, and I love that episode not just for the Disney theme, but also because that's my father. My father always wanted to go on the freaking Hall of Presidents. I have been to the Hall of Presidents for 5 different active presidents, because I did it because there's a speech from George Washington and a speech from Abraham Lincoln, who are the most famous presidents we've probably ever had in history. I know my U.S. presidential history, so like I know you're not going to argue against Washington or Lincoln. They were the most famous presidents. They're the most well-known presidents we've ever had.
As far as I know, right, you always get George, Abraham, JFK, and
I don't think you get JFK.
I thought you got JFK.
Well, they play part of his "You Have Nothing to Fear." No, that's FDR. His was "Ask Not What Your Country Can Do for You." They play that as part of the overall thing, but I think the speeches come from Washington and Lincoln, and then whoever the current president is.
Yeah.
So I've seen it for Clinton, I've seen it for Bush, I've seen it for Obama, and I've seen it for Trump. Haven't seen it for Biden yet. Don't know if I will, because again, I don't know if I'm going to Disney when I go down there next month. And if I am going, I'm not going to Magic Kingdom. This
is so bad. What I'm about to say is so fucking bad.
Oh, God.
So
goodbye, YouTube.
Say it.
It's been nice having you.
I have to say it.
God damn it. All right.
Biden kind of already looks like an animatronic.
God damn it.
All right.
That won't get me banned on YouTube, so I'm going to allow that. I'll allow it. But you're going to stop right there?
I am. No politics. But I'm just
that's
saying.
Not really. That's just having eyes.
Yeah.
Let's be fair. It doesn't matter what your opinion of the man is. That's an observation. God damn it, you threw me off so bad.
You're welcome.
This might be a controversial take, but I'd probably give it a 3.
I give it a 3. It's definitely not like a thing I have to do every single time.
No, but I'm willing to do it. Yeah, I'm willing to do it.
And I'm waiting for like a fast pass for something, and I just happen to be in the area. Yeah, I'm popping in.
And here's the thing. Here's what you guys got to understand. The animatronics in there are so friggin' cool. This isn't when Lincoln stands up. He actually like puts his hands on his thighs and braces himself to get out of the chair, like an actual person would do. When he's giving the speech, the other presidents around the room are like looking at him. They move around. They scratch their nose. They adjust their hands. Like they move like actual people. It's really cool how they do it. Like really cool. And it's one of those theaters that's got it does the screen, and then the screen gets bigger, and then the animatronics show up. It's cool. It's a cool experience. It's worth it. It's not something I have to do every time. But yes, maybe that's more that might actually be more controversial than giving Country Bears a 1. We'll see. We'll see how the comments go, guys. Flame me all you want. I don't care. The Haunted Mansion.
It's a 5.
My all-time favorite theme park attraction, period.
The thrill aspect would be a 2, but to me is a 3 because there are parts of it where you're going backwards but you're like going up, or you're like leaning back, and it's more than just a people mover.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a roller coaster. But the theming is off the charts good.
Theming's a friggin' 10. Nah, it's a 5. It's a 5.
Yeah. This is one of those things where normally the overall is the average of the scores, but not in this case.
No.
It is a solid 5.
It's a 5. First of all, the queue line has the funny tombstones. It's got the atmosphere. It's got the howls and everything, the bats and everything. Like, the theming from the cast members are so great.
Yeah. Well, they're allowed to be rude, kind of.
No, they're just not really rude. They're creepy.
Yeah, which is, ironically enough, their normal personalities, I'm assuming.
Probably. The ride itself is just so fun. So fun. And you go into the main room where Master Gracie's photo's up on the wall. I think his name was Gracie. You go into the stretching room, which is so friggin' cool. And then you have to find a way out. There's always my way. And they show the person hanging, which is really bold for a Disney move. Like, and then you actually get on your doom buggy, as they call it. And they don't lower the lap bars for you. The ghost host lowers it, which is cool. And then just all the animatronics and effects in there. We could do a whole episode on just the Haunted Mansion. The Pepper's ghost effect with all the ghosts in the ballroom and everything. And what the hell's the name of the fortune teller? I'm blanking on this. They all have names. The bride in the attic.
Yeah,
murdered her 5 husbands.
It's one of those few rides where people actually bring their deceased loved ones and spread them into the ride.
Don't do this. They vacuum the ride every night. Don't do it. Grandma will spend 12 hours, if she's lucky, at the Haunted Mansion, and then she's going in a Hoover. Don't do it. For the love of God, don't do it. Don't do it in any of the rides. They clean these rides. Please, for the love of God, don't do it. And don't disrespect Grandma and dump her in the water either. Water's dirty enough without her ashes in there. Just don't do it. Yeah, it's a 5. Grim grinning ghosts get stuck in your head every time. The hitchhiking ghosts, Phineas, Ezra, and Gus. We're getting the Hatbox Ghost finally from Disneyland over to Disney World. Haunted Mansion's so great. Now, the one complaint I've heard is that they believe that the Anaheim one is better. I've only been on it once. It was over 20 years ago now, so my memories of it are not very good. I do know they have a Nightmare Before Christmas overlay that I wish they would do in Orlando. And I know that the mansion theme looks better because Liberty Square is supposed to be based more off of something like New Orleans. And it looks like an old Southern mansion in Anaheim, whereas in Orlando, it looks like a spooky mansion. But if that's the only complaint you got...
Yeah, I feel like the only thing that I would really want to see is I want to see their stretch room, because I heard it's actually attached to like an elevator.
Yes, it actually does move. Yeah. Also, their Pirates has an actual drop, like a thrill drop.
We have a little drop.
Yeah, but there's actually like drops.
Ours moves like 2 feet.
Dude, Haunted Mansion.
People have lost their fingers there.
Yeah, well, people are stupid.
Yeah,
we know that. Haunted Mansion's a 5.
Yes.
But
the land itself.
It does not save the land itself. The land itself is like a 2. It's not anything.
Yeah.
When you consider Adventureland, Frontierland, Tomorrowland, Fantasyland, Liberty Square.
It is the weakest of all the lands.
Yes, but it has the best attraction.
Yeah. Talk about a saving grace.
So that takes us to
Fantasyland. Okay, let's see where to start on this.
Do you want to start with some of the stuff that used to be there?
Sure.
Okay. Let's talk about Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Okay. Um,
Did you ever ride it?
I don't think I have.
It's where Pooh is now.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I worked at Winnie the Pooh. I worked everywhere in Fantasyland. So, like,
Yes.
but from what I heard, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride was better than Winnie the Pooh, and I have to believe it.
It had an actual thrill element to it. It was actually between a 2 and a 3 for thrill because it kind of whipped around a little bit. It was fun. It's a perfect thrill ride for when you're a little kid. Cuz it actually, it will move sideways and it'll whip around the corner like he's driving, like he's mad. If you ever saw The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, which you can all see on Disney Plus now if you have it, that was one of the thrills. Yeah, Pooh is much slower. It's a standard dark ride with no actual real thrill element. But yeah, dude, Mr. Toad was fun. Mr. Toad was great.
Now, Winnie the Pooh, on the other hand.
We'll get to that. We'll get to Pooh Bear.
Okay.
Do you remember the Skyway?
I do. I do remember the Skyway. That is an excellent, relaxing ride. You got it puts you in the air and you got to see everything.
Yes.
And it was fantastic. And unfortunately, things happened to people who were working that they were in areas they shouldn't have been, and things came at them, and they held on for as long as they could, but it wasn't long enough. And in all honesty, they shouldn't have held on at all. They would have fallen, but I don't think they would have fallen from as high as they were. So that's unfortunate. But as far as like theming goes, I want to say Thrill was like 2 because it's still pretty slow, and there was no theme to it. You were just gonna go over and see all of Fantasyland, which so I guess if you take Fantasyland as a theme, it's still maybe a 3, right? I wish it was still there because I think the concept is cool, especially now with the way Fantasyland is.
Hershey Park had something similar, but it actually works as a transportation system to get you to another part of the park. That's where Skyway actually could have benefited, to get you from one land to another.
Right. I think Skyway was meant to be Fantasyland's version of TTC.
Basically. We'll get to that.
Or, yeah.
All right, remember Snow White's Scary Adventures?
Yes, I do. Man, talk about scary ride. I had to like do a cartwheel onto the track one day. I think I've shared that story before. The ride itself was like, it was very jerky. And it felt so rushed. I remember like you would go through. Then there was the forest scene. Oh, that's right. The fucking scare scene where all the werewolves and shit are like hiding. Holy fuck. The whole thing, it was a nightmare. That ride was a nightmare.
And now it's gone. Good. What replaced it? What replaced Snow White? Or is that just where they built the mine train at?
No, mine train's across. What is there now? I think it's like a princess thing. They turned it into a store at one point.
I remember going on Snow White and being like, this is kind of boring, but how are they getting away with this stuff? This should terrify a child.
Yeah, you die at the end.
What's this ride called? You die at the end. No. I will not be going on this.
But didn't you die in Mr. Toad's Wild Ride as well?
I don't think so.
Well, now that we've actually mentioned that there's actually a grave for Mr. Toad.
Yes, there
to
is.
represent the ride.
And in the Pooh ride, there's a photo of him handing the deed to his house over to Owl when you go
Yeah.
through Owl's house. Yeah, poor Mr. Toad. Did you ever do the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea submarine voyage?
No.
If I did, I don't remember it, so I cannot rank it. And I don't remember what Legend of the Lion King was.
Oh, I have no idea what that
There's
is.
also something called Magic Journeys that used to be there that I never been on, but
I thought that was the name of the League Under the Sea or whatever.
All right, let's go to the in Fantasyland. You have your castle courtyard, your enchanted forest, and your storybook circus. Now, something we're not going to talk about is going to be Toontown, because Toontown did get paved away to make room for New Fantasyland, which is probably not a bad thing. Toontown was really just for really little kids. There weren't any actual rides there, except for the Barnstormer. The Barnstormer. This is a perfect little kid roller coaster because it's a nice, easy, short roller coaster. So if this is going to be your kid's first coaster, put them on the Barnstormer.
Have you ever ridden that thing?
Yes, I have.
That thing was designed for kids. If you were an adult, you were going to die. It tossed you around. You're like, holy fuck. How is this designed for kids? And then you watch a kid do it, and they're like, wee. But meanwhile, you're just like being, it's really bad.
I like that the full name of the attraction is the Barnstormer, featuring Goofy as the Great Goofini. That's not a tongue twister at all. Little kid roller coaster. 3 for thrills because it is still a coaster, despite the fact that it's designed for kids.
Yep, I agree.
It's okay theming wise. I mean, it's a simple theme.
I think it's
you're flying with Goofy.
Solid a 3.
Yeah, but I'd still a 2 in my book. If I'm with friends that have little kids and they want to go on it, I'll probably go on it with them.
I mean, I would give it a 3. I don't think I'd do it.
I wouldn't do it by myself.
Yeah,
but
it's not for me. So, but it's not bad. It's just not my thing.
If I'm with somebody and they're scared to do the coaster and but they've got a kid and the kid wants to do it, I'll take the kid on.
That's fair.
So that's why I'm going to go with 2. Let's talk about your favorite, Dumbo the Flying Elephant.
There's so many bad things about Dumbo, but it's literally just working there. That was the worst.
If you're skip Aladdin, go to Dumbo. At least Dumbo's got the history.
Yes. And now there's 2 of them.
Yes. Which is actually not a bad idea.
That line gets ridiculous.
Exactly. So having 2 of them is not a bad idea.
I used to work there, and in the morning it just bothered me so much when people were like, well, what does this ride do? I'm like, bitch, look. And just fucking open your eyes. It does that. Nothing. We're not hiding anything. This isn't a mirage. There's no smoke and mirrors, even though I think that would make the ride better somehow. And then they get there after waiting, no joke, 2.5 hours. They get on it to ride 90 seconds. Then they're upset. Like, that was it? Like, what were you expecting? You watched this for 2.5 hours. You saw everybody do this. And then you're upset because that's all you got? After watching it twice, I would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, no. And then moved on.
Dumbo's a 2, but I'm going to give it a 2.5 because, like I said, skip Aladdin and do Dumbo. It's better themed.
I gave Aladdin a 2, so this is definitely a 2.5.
It's still better than Aladdin. It has the history, it has better music, it has a better theming.
There is one more that is better.
Yeah, well, that's objective because it almost killed me. but we'll talk about that when we get there. And the famous quote that came from my friend about our experience, because that was all of our first time riding that thing. Well, you know, we'll get to it. All right, so let's go back to the castle courtyard, and let's just kind of review what's there. So right. Cinderella's Castle isn't really an attraction, but it is, as far as theming goes, it's the 5 of the park, because it's the huge castle.
Yes.
Let's get it over with. It's a small world. We already covered this. But
Thrill 2, theming 3, overall 3.
I'll co-sign on 3. I will do it if it's got like a 5-minute wait.
Which should always have a 5-minute wait. I cannot tell you
so many people on those boats.
Yeah. When I found out what the throughput, like the hourly capacity is for that ride compared to every other ride that I have worked at,
including one we're going to talk about that doesn't have a capacity.
Like it amazes me that it ever has a wait.
Yeah.
Ever. And just because you see a massive amount of people there does not mean there's a wait. There probably is, but seriously,
the wait's going to be 3 or 4 boats. Yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh, there's a lot of people here, but then you're like, oh wow, a lot of people just got on that boat. The music is not. I know the music's basically a meme at this point. I mean, hell, dating all the way back to The Lion King when they put that joke in there where Zazu starts singing it. And they're self-aware. I actually don't think the song is that bad. I understand why it's annoying, but as far as like an overall song, I think it's just because it's an earworm and it irritates people.
Having worked there and hearing that song for maybe 14 hours a day on some days, I can say that song involuntarily makes me with my body. Like I literally just do this.
Now you're an animatronic.
I've slowly become an animatronic. And I'll catch myself. I think the last time that I went and I waited in the line and I started hearing the music, I just started doing that. I just TikTok back and forth. Just can't help it.
It's how serial killers are born. Do we need to cut your hair?
I don't have any hair.
What happens if we take your face off?
All right.
All right, Small World. But the thing is, Small World, everybody knows what Small World is. If you know nothing of... And that's the other thing with Dumbo. Everybody knows about the Dumbo ride. Nobody knows what the hell the magic carpets of Aladdin are. But if I say the Dumbo ride, people know what that is.
Well, I feel like the Dumbo ride was popular because literally everybody that goes through to the castle, the moment you get to that like big archway, the big gate, the first thing you can see is the carousel and Dumbo.
Right. Right. So, all right, let's talk about the Mad Tea Party.
Teacups.
Yeah.
What can I say about teacups? No height requirement. I've had one of the most awkward conversations that I've ever had with a guest there. And I will share that one. And, you know, it's accessible to everybody. Sometimes you get the white rabbit and he'll show up and he'll grab somebody and he'll jump on a teacup with them. And you just let it happen. Sometimes Alice will want to ride and you just let that happen. Now, the most awkward moment. So we had this rule, and it has changed for a while, but you needed to be at least 48 inches. If you were under 48 inches, you would have to ask them how old they were. And if they were under the age of 10, they needed to be accompanied by someone who was at least, at this time, because they changed it, but at least 14 or older. So I was like, all right, cool. So I see this baby and this like child, and I'm just like, okay, well, how old's the kid? And he's like, oh, it was like like 1, barely 1. And I was like, how old are you? And she's like 13. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna need like the mom or somebody. And like, I am the mom. I'm just like, good luck with the ride. Clearly, you need this. So I'm done here. Goodbye. And I walked away. Yeah. Hi, you okay there, buddy?
You know what the sad part about that story is? That
What?
story is not unique to you.
No.
I've heard that from many people who have worked at these rides.
I'm just like, you're 13. What do you mean? Oh my god.
Good lord. All right. Tea Party, for me, it's a 1.
It's out of place, right? Because like Alice in Wonderland, Disney property, I get it. Teacups with Alice, I get that. The Mad Hatter's coming out of the top of a tea. You know what? It does seem like it would fit Alice in Wonderland, but it's just kind of weird. Like,
I'm giving it a 1 because I can't do just spinny rides. Those make me sick. So it's a 1 in my book because I can't ride it or I will puke. The only time you would ever get me to actually go on the Mad Tea Party is if I was doing Conquering the Kingdom. Because I'd have to do it. And even then, my ass would be making that thing spin as little as possible. Oh, spin the ride. We're going opposite direction. For a thrill, I'll give it a 3 for a thrill because it is very spinny if you get the right person in there who can really crank that thing, and kids love that stuff. So let the kids go nuts. But
yeah,
I'll take your kid on the Barnstormer, or I'm not taking them on the teacups. You better hope the kid's old enough to ride by themselves.
2 for theming, 2 to 3 for thrills, and an overall experience, it's about a 2. You can skip over it. You really can.
It's a good carnival type ride, so it works for the kids, but
I can't even give it a 2, right? Because I gave fucking Aladdin a 2, so I'll give it a 3. It's a ride.
You're being way nicer than me. Okay. Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Let's talk about it.
You know, when I first started working there, I would have said that the theming was a fucking 1 because it was really? Nothing.
Okay.
Well, here's why. Because when I started working there, the ride had been there for a while already.
Okay.
And there was no queue for it. It was just metal stanchions at the time. It wasn't until we got a kind of cohesive story for our queue when I was about to leave. And now I would say the theming is a 3. It's pretty solid. Like,
yeah, because the queue line is the storybook.
Yes.
It's the Pooh storybook.
But it wasn't there to begin with. Like, it didn't open.
Which is just a missed opportunity, honestly. But
yeah. So
yeah, I give the ride a 3 as well for theming. It's just a retelling of the Pooh storybook. It's like a 1.5 as far as a thrill goes because it's not a show. You are moving, but it doesn't do anything.
It wobbles. It's supposed to wobble. When you go to the Hufflepuffs and Woozles or whatever.
Yeah, that's an acid trip room, by the way.
Yeah.
That is an acid trip room.
There's been days where I don't know how much I can say. Probably not a whole lot. But there are certain things that cause the ride to activate it to know what room it's in. Right?
Okay.
So when it like shakes like this going through Owl's house, there's a little thing that goes, hey, you're in Owl's house, and it causes the car to kind of wobble back and forth because you're kind of going through there during like a storm or whatever.
Okay.
Then it straightens out. Then it goes into the Heffalumps and Woozle scene, and that's when it's supposed to rotate. And it's supposed to do that until you get to another point, and it straightens out, and then it shows all the happy stuff, and then you come back to the ride, the exit.
Who got his big fat ass stuck in Rabbit's front door?
Well, sometimes that little trigger to say straighten out doesn't straighten out the fucking thing. So there's another straighten out point, like before you get onto the dock. But if it didn't catch it the first time because of the position it was in, and it happened to be in the same position when it's supposed to go to the next straighten out, sometimes you'll see people going like this as they're coming into the exit, and there's nothing you can do. You could just laugh, because you just have to laugh and stop the ride before it crashes into the floor.
Great.
I mean, if it in our defense, when it crashes into the floor, it straightens itself out.
well, I hope so at that point.
You just get a thump, and then like, and there we go.
So that wasn't where I thought you were going to go with that. When you were like, I don't know how much of this I can say. And I'm like, is he about to talk about something that he did before he got on the ride to make the Heffalump and Woozle Room much more psychedelic than it actually was?
No. Believe it or not, never did any of that stuff while I was working.
I didn't say when you were working. I meant when you were a guest.
Oh, I wouldn't go there as a guest.
That's an even better answer. Okay, there you go.
If I ever went to Fantasyland and did anything as a guest, I was either with people who wanted to do that stuff, or I just wanted to stop by and say hi to my friends and see what time they were off, and then meet up with them afterwards or whatever.
Fair enough. All right, so we ranked Pooh. I'm getting echo.
No soup for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Mickey's PhilharMagic.
Thrill is a 1 because it is a show.
Yes, but it's an exciting show.
It is a very exciting show. Theming, very good. I want to say theming is a 5. And then my overall score is a 5 as well for that.
I might co-sign with you on that one, because I feel like every time I go to Magic Kingdom, I do Philhar. Every time. And it's one of those ones where I'm like, well, we're going through Fantasyland. I got to do PhilharMagic. So, okay, to kind of tell you guys what PhilharMagic is, Mickey is conducting an orchestra, and Donald gets a hold of the
Sorcerer's hat.
The Sorcerer's hat from Fantasia. And he starts conducting the piece, and he ends up basically ends up pulling a Rick and Morty and goes through a bunch of wormholes and ends up in different Disney movies. And they do musical performances from them. They do Be Our Guest. They do Part of This World. They do Can't Wait to Be King. They do... What else do they do? They do You Can Fly from Peter Pan. And they do...
A Whole New World.
A Whole New World from Aladdin. And the music is great. It's a fully 3D show. It has special effects and everything. And it even has an animatronic Donald's ass for when he gets shot out of the cannon at the end.
Uh-oh.
Really good. Yes. Dan just pointed out Philharmonic but magic. Yes, it's Mickey's PhilharMagic. And the theming is cool because it looks like an actual theater. And while you're sitting waiting for the show to start, you can hear like Minnie and Goofy moving around backstage. And at one point, Goofy goes, "Well, where does this plug into?" And then the lights flicker as you hear the electrocution noise. It's really well done. I feel like I always do Philhar every single time I go to Magic Kingdom. Every time.
Yeah, it's the 1-5 that I'm giving classic Fantasyland. Classic. Okay. Notice how I said classic.
I know, because we're not done yet. All right. Prince Charming Regal Carousel. It's a carousel.
It is a carousel, indeed.
If you like carousels, it's for you. For me, it's a 1 because I don't care for carousels. No, I'll give it a 2 because again, it's just a carousel. But if I'm with people that want to ride it, I'll go on it.
Now, thrill level on this varies between 2 and 4.
Okay.
It depends. So, the carousel is a classic. It is ancient. It is the original carousel from like the World's Fair.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So sometimes that shit works too well and doesn't want to break. if you get what I'm saying. So the thing's supposed to ride until the music stops, and then it stops. It's supposed to stop anyway. So sometimes it don't, and people don't pay attention to that. They just like, oh, the music stopped. I can get off now. Woo! Just fly off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, and sometimes the horses break or the poles come down, and there's cabling inside, so it doesn't like flop over. But that wasn't always the case either.
Oh God. You're making me never want to go on another Fantasyland attraction again.
No, I'm just telling you never to go on a carousel again.
Well, I avoid carousels in general because they don't do anything for me. But yeah.
No, it's fine. It's safe. It's just sometimes I feel like the actual it depends on how many people get on, right? Like you're supposed to fill out every single horse, and we try our best, but like if you fill out every single horse with, let's say, hefty people, right? They were very well fed.
Mm-hmm.
Then at takeoff, it is very, very slow. But then once it gets to speed, it doesn't want to stop because of momentum. You know what I mean? Like there's weight behind it. But the other way around, let's say nobody else wants to ride and you're on the only horse. Well, when they hit the start button, you better hold on.
So there's really two different types of thrill levels here.
Yeah.
Very good.
So you just never know what you're gonna get.
That leaves us with, for classic Courtyard Fantasyland, Peter Pan's Flight.
It's a never do for me. It's a fine if you do it once and then you never have to do it again.
Yeah, it's a 2 because the line's always too long for what it is.
Yeah.
Why does Peter Pan's Flight always have a friggin' 45-minute wait? And I think it's because, like you said before, I don't think it can push that many people through.
No, you really can't. It's 2 people per car, and it's a people mover. But like, it's slow, right? So Thrill is a 2. The theming is pretty much non-existent until you get
Peter
in
Pan.
the ride.
Yeah, it's just Peter Pan.
Exactly.
So it's like a 3 because there's not really much to it till you get inside. So yeah, it's a meh. I will get in line for Peter Pan's Flight if it's legitimately like 10 15 minutes. Yeah. I'll actually be like, all right, screw it, let's go on it. But I've done it before. I never have to do it again. So
best time to get on that ride is during Not So Scary Mickey Halloween Party.
Or Very Merry or something like that.
Yeah.
During an event.
Because nobody's going to be doing that. That's when you go.
Here's how you have to do the events, guys. You got to go twice. Once to do the parade and the fireworks. Go a second time so you can do all the stuff you want to do while everybody's watching the parade and the fireworks. Because there ain't going to be anybody on that shit. That's when you go on Peter Pan's Flight.
Yep.
You want to see Peter Pan's Flight as a walk-on? Wait till the fireworks are going off and walk right on. 45 minutes waits. That's it. I'm done. Screw it.
45-minute wait's not even that bad, man. I've seen that shit at a 240-minute wait before.
No thanks. All right. 240-minute wait is not good enough to get me on any ride in Central Florida, period.
Right. And the fact that I've seen that on multiple occasions, not for that particular ride, but mostly Soarin'.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Soarin' at 240 minutes on New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, just the holidays and 4th of July.
That's when Harry Potter got to be. That's when I put a 2 up on that sign. I was like, oh, God. I can't believe I'm about to do this. And I did it. I started moving the knob, and I heard the thing go off, and I just hear this huge "ah" from the huge crowd. Sorry, guys, but yeah, yeah. The most, if it's okay, if it's one of like those, if it's a ride I'm specifically going there to do, I'll wait like 90 minutes. But I'm so spoiled now.
Where was it that I went to that I was like, oh, this is a great idea. I wish Disney had this. And it's basically there was wait times throughout the queue, so you knew exactly how much longer you had.
Yeah, I've seen places that do that. I think
But the
Disney.
problem with that is like when you're looking at the entrance, you're just like, holy shit, 90 minutes? Like, no. It's 90 minutes if the line stopped here, but it's not here. So,
Well, yeah, but people are, you know how people are.
yeah.
All right, so Enchanted Forest, which is also New Fantasyland, features 3 actual rides. I'm not going to count Ariel's Grotto because that's just a meet and greet. Let's start with Under the Sea's Journey of the Little Mermaid. This was basically just another Fantasyland mover. It's like the Nemo ride. You're in a shell. It tells the story of the Little Mermaid. There's simple animatronics and music. So
give it a 3. It's solid.
Solidly themed too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's well done. Enchanted Tales with Belle. 1 for thrill because it's not you. It's literally Belle's telling a story. But there's interactive parts. You get to be up there and they pick people from the audience. So 2.
I haven't done it, so can't rate it.
Okay. It's a 2. It's a sit down in air conditioning. Belle reads a story to the beast, and then they pick people from the audience to like be like the enchanted silverware and stuff. So you can get picked, and then you can kind of like hold the little cardboard thing that they give you, and then they tell you to do something funny, and you play along with it. So it's fun. It's worth going in to try, but it's skippable. 7 Dwarfs Mine Train.
Now, what's sad about this is I can give you the theming for the queue, but I couldn't tell you the ride.
You've never been on the ride.
Because by the time I got to the ride, it had broke. I think the queue is awesome.
Queue's really good.
And that's it. That's all I got.
So, I'm going to give it a 4. It's not as good as the other mountains. It's painfully short once you get on it. But the theming is awesome. The theming is very well done. And it's got the music and everything, so. Fantasyland as a whole, Eric?
Fantasyland as a whole, I want to
As a guest. As a guest.
As a guest, unfortunately, I'd have to give it like a 3 or a 4.
I'm going to give it a 3 because I think it's too much of a pain in the ass.
It is a pain in the ass. However, there's too many things in that land to be less than a 3 for me.
I'll agree with that.
Just because, like, yeah, you have Small World, you have Philhar, you have Mine Train, you have the Little Mermaid. That's 4 already. That's basically Adventureland and Frontierland all in one.
Yeah.
And then I'm not saying that Peter Pan is bad. I'm just saying I fucking will not wait for that ride.
It has the most to do.
Yes.
But it's the biggest pain in the ass because it's always the most crowded land. It's not easy to navigate. It's a stroller nightmare.
Yes.
And because of its positioning in the park, people are miserable and pushier by the time they get there.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. That takes us to Tomorrowland.
My favorite land.
Yeah, mine too. So real quick, I can't talk too much about a lot of the old stuff that was there because there's only 3 things that existed that I actually rode because I don't know if I ever did Mission to Mars or not. I don't know what Flight to the Moon is. I never did Star Jets. They had all this America Journey stuff and Magic Carpet Around the World. Like, I never did any of that stuff. Delta Dream Flight, I don't remember. If You Had Wings, don't remember. But I do remember Extraterrestrial Alien Encounter, Timekeeper, and Stitch's Great Escape. So I can talk about those three. Let's start with Extraterrestrial Alien Encounter. If this still existed, this would have been a friggin' 5. This is one of the most terrifying rides I've ever been on, period. Not even just, like, as a general thing. This ride was actually scary. And I give Disney a lot of props for actually making this thing exist. Do you have any feedback at all on this ride? Did you ever do it? You're frozen, aren't you? I think I lost Eric. I don't think he's trolling me, guys. I think I actually lost him. Yeah, I think we lost Eric on this live broadcast. Oh, man. I have to bring him back, guys. You're about to go behind the scenes here. Hold on. Hold on. Yep. Hang on, guys. I'm bringing Eric back. I brought him back. There. You guys got
Hey!
You guys got a behind the scenes thing. I'm like, do you have any feedback for this ride? You never wrote it, did you? Then I go, you're trolling me, aren't you?
I was like, oh God, he froze. And then I was like, nope, I guess it was me.
Nah, it's fine. It's all good. You're back from the dead, as Dan pointed out.
Which one are we talking about, and what did I miss?
Okay. So, like I said, there's only 3 rides I can actually talk about because I actually did them.
Okay.
Because I never did the Dream Flighter, and if I did, I don't have any freaking memory of it. I could talk about the Alien Encounter, the Timekeeper, and Stitch's Great Escape.
Okay.
I don't believe I can talk about anything else because I never did anything else.
I don't think I did Timekeeper.
Okay. We'll talk about that first. I was doing Alien Encounter, but I'll talk about Timekeeper. Timekeeper was, well, thrill level, it was a 1 because it was a standing attraction. But theming-wise, I would say 2 to 3 just because it had a full 360 panoramic and you were in the eyes of the robot. And what was cool about it was you could turn around and, like, look at the back of the room and actually see, like, what was happening behind the scenes. So, like, when it was going through, like, a fancy party and the robot's talking to people, when they'd walk past, they'd actually see them, like, you could turn around and watch them, like, walk back and, like, look back to look at the robot and everything. Basically, you were time traveling, and it was narrated by Robin Williams.
Oh, what?
So for that, it was pretty damn cool. It was worth going on. I'd probably give it a 3. Standing attraction, yes, but it was actually pretty neat. Alien Encounter, as I mentioned while you were floating away, I give that a 5.
Alien Encounter was good.
Alien Encounter was terrifying.
Now, it is not what I would typically say a thrill ride would be, but honestly, because of, like, the fear that's involved in it, I would have given, like, a 3 or a 4.
Yes.
Now, obviously, you're not really moving, so
you don't move,
but
it's an atmosphere.
Yeah, it's like an atmosphere thrill.
So the concept of the ride was that we were experimenting with a transporter that could transport a doctor from across the galaxy to talk to us. And we all got sat in the room. I don't remember what the actual reasoning was behind why we had to get strapped in, but he was going to show up in the room, and of course it has bumbling scientists. They screwed up the tractor beam and broadcast an alien instead from an unknown planet. Now, a lot of people were thinking it was going to be a xenomorph type thing. It was an original thing. It was originally supposed to be based on the Alien attraction, like the Alien franchise. But because that's an R-rated movie, Disney had the rule about it, so they didn't do it. But once the alien shows up, the lights go out. It flat out kills a maintenance person. Like, you hear a guy scream and get killed, and you get splattered with something, which some say it's supposed to be the alien's, like, drool or spit, but you can leave that up to your interpretation. And the sound effects are running around you. People are screaming. They blow hot air on the back of your neck. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was friggin' cool. So
yeah. And then they put fucking Stitch there.
that's a 0. That's not even a 1. That's a 0. And I love Lilo and Stitch.
Honestly, I think it would have been better had they just left it as Alien Encounter, but they just fucking put Stitch there instead.
They shut it down because it was getting too many complaints for being too scary, despite the fact that they advertised the hell out of how scary it was. But yeah, so the only reason the Stitch thing sucked was because of the horrible, he burps and there's that horrible hot dog smell. And it's the most nauseating smell in Disney history.
Yeah, and they actually I think it's still connected to the Rays building, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they tore it down. But just a big no on Stitch. One of the worst. Until I rode the Fast and the Furious ride, it was the worst theme park attraction I'd ever been on. So,
damn, Fast and Furious that bad, huh?
We won't talk about. Well, we're gonna do an episode on Universal at some point. We'll talk about it then in more detail. But yeah, Stitch was awful. This is the only thing that has a future attraction, Tron Light Cycle Run, coming soon, and I can't wait. Cannot wait for that. So let's talk about the attractions of Tomorrowland. First, let's talk about the Speedway. Let's get that out of the way.
The Speedway.
Let's just get that out of the way.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Had it actually been free go-karts, I think it would have been better. But the fact that it's all like pre-path.
Yeah, it's pre-path. And you're driving, and all it takes is for one person to like screw up and back up your path, and yeah, it's not very fun.
No.
It's a 2. I'll take somebody on it if they want to go, but I'm skipping it every time.
Right. And then the fact that it still uses like fuel.
I know, right? It smells too. It smells like it
smells so bad.
All right. Let's talk about Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin. Inspired by the Men in Black ride at Universal.
Yeah.
It's not really much of a thrill ride, but you get to shoot aliens and you get
it's fun.
You get points. It's fun. It's a game. It's
I
more
would
of a
give
game.
it a 4. An overall 4 out of 5. But I like the theming is weird, right? Because the theming I would give it a 4 once you get past the doors.
See, I'll say it's a 4 just because of the fact that it's so interactive.
That's where, yeah. Because it's not really a thrill ride. I can't give it more than a 3. But the fact that it is so fun because of the interaction and the theming, it boosts it up to a 4.
I'm going to give it a solid 3. And the reason why I'm going to give it a 3 instead of a 4 is because I don't seek this ride out when I go there, but I do go on it. For my personal criteria, because I will more often than not skip it than actually ride it. Which is not to take anything away from the ride itself, it's just not a preference of mine. But that's just me. I give it a positive review, and I feel the exact same way about the Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. 1 for thrill, because it's a show. Yep. But it's fun. It's interactive, and because it's got the technology where the monsters on screen are doing live interaction with the actor, that makes it funnier because they can improv.
See, I will go onto Laugh Floor if somebody that I'm with wants to go see it, but I'm not going out of my way for it.
Right, that's why I'm going to put it a 3.
I do want to ride Buzz if I go there.
Okay, so Buzz higher for you than Laugh Floor. For me,
Correct.
They're about the same. But still recommended by both of us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, Laugh Floor also depends on who you get. Which entertainment person's back there doing the show. That can make or break it. Some people are better at improv than others. That's just the way of life. That's how comedy is. Let's talk about the Astro Orbiter.
Astro Orbiter this is my 3 for these rides. It is the best one By far.
It's easily the fastest, and it's suspended in the air. So you're
Yeah.
way higher, you're way faster, and you feel like you're going to die. And my buddy in the car in front of us just yelling out, "I don't think I like this." It's something that I will keep in my memory forever. We all rode it for the first time together. It's one of those ones where, like, two of us crammed into the car. The girl was sitting in front of me. And she's like, "Oh, no, it's fine. You can wrap your arms around me. Hee hee hee." And then I was actually doing it because I'm like, I'm going to die.
If I'm going to die, I'm taking you with me.
I am going to die on this.
Also, your breasts are pretty firm.
I did not do that. I did not do that. I was single at the time. But I did not, because she was not. That's respect, Eric. Oh my god. Almost died on that thing. Also, really weird that you have to ride an elevator to get up there, and it's like... I don't think there's much of a theme here, really. Theming 2.
Yeah, I mean...
I actually think Dumbo's better themed than Astro Orbiter.
I don't think Dumbo's themed.
It's a circus elephant in a circus tent. That's got a theme.
I feel like the lack of theming is the theme.
Oh my god!
Which makes
it a 5. So that's a thing. All right. There's 3 rides left in Tomorrowland. These are all going to get progressively higher for me.
Okay.
So I'm going to go in order of how they're going to... Well, I'm going to save the main attraction for last because it's the top attraction in the park, period. But let's talk about the Carousel Progress.
Hey, I thought you were going to save that for last.
I see what you did there.
All right. Now, I know it's a 3, right? It's a solid attraction, but for me, it's a 5. I have to do this every time I'm there.
It's a 4 for me. I'm okay skipping it, but I don't want to.
I'm not okay skipping it.
Yeah, no, Carousel Progress is so
there.
Good. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so the history behind it is this was at the original World's Fair, and it was a store. It follows the same family through 4 different time periods. It's turn of the century Valentine's Day, turn of the century Valentine's Day, 1920s hottest 4th of July on record, Halloween in the 40s, and then Christmas in the modern age or the future age, which they've actually updated it because we've surpassed the technology that's in there. Because there's like the virtual reality video game and everything. Because I know like they added like now the mom is on a MacBook, and the oven overcooked.
Do they still do the oven thing?
They still do the oven thing.
Okay.
They still do the oven thing. Wow, Grandma got 900 points. Wow, 900, that's great. Oven set to 900. He's just ignoring it. What I love about this attraction isn't just the music, which is great. Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow is fantastic. Top tier Disney song. Oh, we should do a ranking of like Disney songs that came out of the parks. We could rank those. Top tier. Like Zippity Doo Dah, Grim Grinning Ghosts, and this are like top tier Magic Kingdom attraction songs. Yeah. Oh, and Yo-Ho, Pirate's Life for me, of course. Can't skip that. But yeah, first of all, you're in a rotating theater, which is just fun. And it's air conditioned, and you're sitting. So thrill level 1, 1.5, because you do move. And
you can die. So
you can die. Somebody did. It was a cast member who was being an ass, but, trying to get between the walls, and yes, you can. So just don't do it. But what's cool is in each scene, it's the father, John, and he's talking, and he's got the dog, and then they'll actually put the lights on it behind like the painted walls, and you'll see the animatronics behind there. But the last scene, the Christmas scene, they're all together out in the room, and they all sing the song together. They split the lyrics among each other, because usually John sings it, and maybe the family joins in, but at the end they're all singing it together. That song will be stuck in your head forever.
Yep.
I love the Carousel Progress. Love it. This next ride, Eric, is called the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover, or TTA for short.
Yes. I love that ride. It is very slow, so thrill is a 2. Theming is a 5 because it's all of Tomorrowland.
It's all of Tomorrowland. It's a 5 in my book. I ride it every time without fail.
Yeah. It's a must ride.
They tell
Even
you,
though
and what's kind of cool,
solidly it's a 3, but it's a 5.
For level 3, you're moving, and you do move pretty fast at points. They tell you about everything that you're passing by, so they hype up Buzz Lightyear, they hype up Space Mountain, they show you what Epcot was supposed to be. You're actually supposed to be able to live there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we spent enough hours there where we might as well have lived there.
God. What would you do if you could just see an actual spreadsheet of how much of your life was spent inside a Disney park, working or guest?
I don't know if I'd take a look at it. I don't think I want to know.
It's easily more than one full calendar year of your life when you combine all the time.
Considering I've worked there for 13 years.
Yes. So there's been an entire years of your life spent inside. Entire years, dude. Maybe I'll clock in at one calendar year for all my time spent there, but I know you have me way beat. So, yeah, TTA is fun. It almost never has a long line, and even if it does, the line always moves because it's always moving. So you never wait in line for very long. You just sit back and you relax, and it's got some fun music, and it's kind of a sales pitch for Tomorrowland. And it's got corny dad jokes, paging Mr. Morrow, Mr. Tom Morrow. I like that stuff. All right, the top attraction in all of Magic Kingdom, as far as thrills go, as far as popularity and all that other crap, is Space Mountain.
Space Mountain. It is a 5, but it's overrated.
It's a 4, because I can skip it, and I generally will if the line is too long, or it goes down while I'm waiting in line, which happens a lot.
Yes.
And at that point, I'll just roll my eyes and get out of line if I start standing still for too long.
But lately, or not lately, but at least before I left, it seemed like they've had both sides running all the time.
Yeah, and that helps.
So the line has it's almost non-existent. And when you do get on, it is pretty well themed. This is actually one of the only rides that I can think of where the exit is actually pretty well themed as well.
The exit's cool. The exit's actually cool. The ride itself is really cool. My buddy Andy almost died on it because he basically came out of his restraint. So he has a much different opinion than I do. And as Dan had to point out in the chat, do you know the Space Mountain Ric Flair reference?
No.
Okay, so Ric Flair, one of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time, also very well known for his sexual exploits. He did very well with the ladies. Not when they were married to him, because I think he's been married or divorced like 5 or 6 times, but as far as just his escapades and everything, it's legendary how many women he's been with. He always compared his sexual exploits to Space Mountain because while it was the oldest ride in the park, it had the longest line. Woo! So he would talk. So when he said the ladies were coming to ride Space Mountain, that's what he meant. So, yes.
Dear God.
Good old Space Mountain. I have heard that Space Mountains in Disneyland is much better. Again, I have no memory of it. I can't tell you.
I've never been to Disneyland, so I can't rate
anything. I gotcha. I understand, dude. But yeah, as far as what everything is basically like considered, yeah, there's quite a lot that you can do at Magic Kingdom. And then real quick, I do want to just discuss the special events. Not So Scary and Very Merry are absolutely worth your time to go.
Yes.
Even if
However, I don't think they're worth the fucking price tag that comes along with it.
Well,
Jesus.
At least at Not So Scary, you get to wear a costume and you go trick or treating, so you walk out with a lot of candy. Very Merry, free cookies and hot chocolate everywhere, so that's fun. And there's also special overlays the Jingle Cruise and Space Mountain had one. Not so, but what you're really going there for is the parades and the fireworks show, which are phenomenal. So what it boils down to is the only other things to really talk about for Magic Kingdom would be the parades and the fireworks. So like Wishes has always been the really popular fireworks show. I know they've got other stuff now where they do the castle projections and everything. I've seen lots of videos of it. Looks really cool.
Projections are pretty cool.
Yes. And then the parades were always fun, whether it was the Electric Light Parade or Spectro Magic. There used to be a daytime parade. They don't do that anymore. The 3 o'clock parade. What time does the 3 o'clock parade start?
Depends on where you're at.
Exactly. Let's rate Magic Kingdom overall 1 to 5.
Oof.
Yeah, this is where it's going to be tough.
But I guess you would have to rate them 1 through 4.
Well, yeah, in that respect, but here's where I'm going to say Magic Kingdom is. Ranking-wise, it's my least favorite park of all of them.
Yeah.
So I give it a 3 overall because I will go to it, but given the choice, it's literally the last choice I'm making out of the other parks.
I am with you. I will second that. I would say it's a solid park.
Yes.
It's a solid park. If we go there, you already know the things that I'm going to want to do.
Yes.
Are actual things that I would enjoy doing at
Yes.
that park.
Yes.
But I do not like that park.
Yeah. Positives. Let's do some positives. Number 1, some of the best mixed theming.
Yes.
That's actually the best mixed theming, because Animal Kingdom is mostly one overall theme, just laid out for different countries, and then Dino Land takes it way down. We'll talk about that when we get to Animal Kingdom. Epcot's theming is great for what it is, but it's much different, almost unfair to rank it with the other parks.
It's unfair, especially if it's going through like Food and Wine.
Yeah, and then Star Wars is one big theme. It's a working movie set. Star Wars, as I called it. Studios.
It is. No, I know.
No,
what
it's
you're
Star Wars
about.
now. I know. Star Wars
Star
took
Wars.
over. That was an appropriate faux pas. So other positives about Magic Kingdom: it has the most to do, ride wise. It does have the most variety. Yeah. That's where Conquer the Kingdom came from.
It has the best show, the best 3D show out of all the parks.
Yes. It has my all-time favorite attraction in Haunted Mansion. It has the best collection of classic attractions. It has really some of the best character meet and greets. While you don't get a lot of the unusual characters here, you get all the ones that you would want to meet. And there's multiple places to meet them. You can meet Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and Donald in several different locations easily. And they're the classic versions of the characters. Like, yes, you can meet themed versions of them in other parks, but if you just want your classic character meet and greets, that's the place to do it. I would also say it has the best themed events, obviously. Night of Joy notwithstanding, and we don't talk about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't...
But here's my negatives about Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
It's always the most crowded.
Yes.
The guests are always the rudest and pushiest in this park.
Yeah.
It's just a pain because of when it was built, so it's not an accommodating park.
Correct.
And that creates headaches. It's difficult to get to because you have to go on an adventure to get there. You can't just park and walk in. You have to take the monorail or you have to take the boat. And while I enjoy those, I'd rather just walk in.
Die. Oh, yeah.
No, it's not that bad.
I will also add to the negatives that out of all the parks, because of its age, this particular park has the attractions that break down the most.
Yes, that's a good point. I was going to say that too. Yeah. And again, that's age showing, but yes. Good God. I do like that they rethemed the parking lot to be heroes and villains. which is kind of neat. But what's also kind of obnoxious about Magic Kingdom. It's the smallest park, but it feels like it's just difficult to get around. Epcot is so wide open. You don't feel claustrophobic at Epcot.
No, but the problem with Epcot, and it is my favorite park, right? But the problem with Epcot is it is so wide open that when you make it to that lake and you're just like, oh man, I have to walk all the way over there.
And Epcot is a lot of walking.
Yeah, there is no train to jump on to bring you on to the rest. And I feel like that's a shame because out of all the parks that need it, it's Epcot.
You get the most exercise in Epcot for sure.
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom's a pain in the ass to navigate too because they did that on purpose to make it all adventure-like. But Magic Kingdom is just a pain in general because of the obnoxious crowding from everybody. And I know that like the castle area has all the different spokes so you can easily get to every land, but it's just it can just be a pain. But with the Jon Favreau film coming out, we'll see how that goes. Will Small World characters come to life and terrify us to death? But I think we did a fair assessment of Magic Kingdom. Now, if you guys have an issue with what we said, you can leave it in the comments, especially if you're a fan of the Country Bear Jamboree. But I think we were pretty fair overall. So let's quickly go and do... I said Mansion's my favorite ride ever. Let's do threes. Top 3 rides at Magic Kingdom, Eric.
Okay, the Mountains and Haunted Mansion.
Okay. Space Thunder Mansion. Okay. For me, it's Mansion, Pirates, PhilharMagic. That's my 3.
Okay.
Worst ride. Let's just do worst.
Worst?
Stitch isn't there anymore, so that was usually my go-to, but...
Carpets.
You say carpets, I say teacups.
Oh, Tiki Room. Fuck.
Tiki Room.
Or the walking simulator, whatever the hell that's called.
The walking simulator. The line ride. The treehouse. Okay.
Yeah, treehouse.
I still say teacups.
You still say teacups?
Personal preference, but fuck the teacups. Fuck the teacups. But yes. Okay. Here we go. Park Hopper's back, baby. So now you guys can... it's still Chris and Eric talk, but this was a Park Hopper episode. If you guys like this, we'll do one for Epcot, we'll do one for Studios, we'll do one for Animal Kingdom, and hell, we'll tackle the Universal Parks too. We'll do both.
You know what we should do? I'm going to make an announcement because I know we talked about it before, but I feel like unless we say it out loud, it'll never get done. You and I. Zelda. We need to do it.
So we are going to attempt at some point. We are going to do a show like this with the two of us on screen, but we're going to play through the Legend of Zelda library. That'll be a whole different series. Instead of Chris and Eric talk, it's going to be Chris and Eric play.
And I kind of want to do a randomizer, though.
Because you hate me, and you just want me to suffer. Because you wanted me to be the one that was actually playing it first, and I was like, okay, I guess I can do that. And then you said randomizer, because you just want to watch me suffer. That's what you want to watch.
That is not true. We're both going to suffer. We're both going to play. We're both going to be there going, well, have you tried this place? Or have you tried this one?
Eric, I am being swarmed by Octoroks in Death Mountain, and I'm not happy.
Oh, I don't want to do an enemy randomizer.
Oh my God.
Fuck that. Just an item randomizer.
Oh, item randomizer will make it hard as hell, but an enemy randomizer would have sucked. You walk into the first dungeon and Ganon's right there. All right, well, game over.
Oh, God.
The game's over. Yeah, so that's something we're going to do, Chris and Eric play. I made my announcements. We talked about Extra Life. We have the charity links up every month. For October, we're going to do the National Breast Cancer Alliance or Association or whatever it's called. Foundation, I think. But October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we'll have a donation button up there for you guys. Dan's got plans for our November charities, because November is when Desert Bus goes on. Also, Extra Life, November 5th. And continue to check out all the streams. Like I said, no Super Nintendo Melee this week. Sorry, guys. Work schedule kind of screwed me there. One of my coworkers owes me a favor now for doing that. But I've actually done 2 favors for this person, so they can at least owe me the one. Jeez. What else is planned? The spooky games are coming up. What else did I do? So I got Days Gone, Last of Us, and a Goosebumps game, which is actually a point-and-click adventure I was experimenting with. So I've got some stuff for Spooktober coming up, plus the vintage stuff. We'll kick that off when we hit October. But keep supporting the stuff. I got WWE 2K22 back up and running. I got all the unlockables again, so I'm going to try running the Multiversal Wrestling Federation so I can finally get Eric's matches underway. I've got Michael Jackson, Prince, Freddie Mercury, James Hetfield standing by. I'm going to do a musical Royal Rumble. And nice. Who else can we put in there? Elton John. I was going to do one for men and one for women, so.
Fred Durst.
Oh, you know somebody made one of him out there. Yeah, we'll put Fred Durst in there. Machine Gun Kelly's an actual playable character in the game, so he'll at least get in.
Is he really?
Yeah, he is. Him and Logan Paul.
No.
Yeah, Logan Paul's playable. He was one of the latest downloads, so.
Dear God.
And you'll appreciate this. When they go to Saudi Arabia, Logan Paul's in the world title match. So, yep. If you ever wanted to see Logan Paul go for a world title in wrestling, now you can. Yeah, what do you got going on, Eric?
Not much. Still doing the Sick Minds of Matt and Eric. It is turned into a YouTube thing where we kind of just record. We actually talked about Soul Hackers this week. I don't know if he uploaded it or not.
He did. Episode 10's up.
Okay, cool. Outside of that, I've been experimenting with some VR stuff, and yeah, I fucking love it. I'm gonna see if I can get you on board, but I'm trying to see, like, I love the HP headset, but I can't recommend it. So I think I might end up
when I have some spare cash again, I will get one. It will be a while. Maybe I'll just, for Christmas this year, maybe I'll just be like, everybody give me cash because I want a VR headset.
The thing is awesome. Then you get one of these, and you just put it on your face, and then you put the headset on.
Just not the headset that you got.
Not this HP one, though. It's really fucking good. It's really cool.
Okay.
It's just HP support sucks, you know.
Preaching to the choir on that one. My old HP laptop, I think, is still sitting in the closet back there, collecting dust.
I'm getting text messages from my neighbors saying, like, "Hey, can you keep it down?"
Oh God, are we that loud?
I am.
Damn,
I am pretty loud. Damn, and I got, like, you come out pretty bassy on my end.
Sorry.
Nah, it's not your fault. That's just how we talk.
Yeah. I'm Italian. That's how we talk. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming up. If you guys are watching this later on YouTube, we appreciate your support. Eric and I are going to continue to try to stream every Sunday night live. If we can't, we'll let you know. We'll still record these live, which just may not be Sundays at 7. And just know I do have my vacation coming up in October, so I am going to be missing a couple of episodes there. Possibly 2 weeks worth of this, actually, depending on my trip home.
Okay.
But, I mean, if I get home on that Sunday and I get home with enough time to record, obviously we will, but we'll see, because I don't know how that's going to work. But we'll play it by ear. But again, thank you guys for your support. Become a patron at patreon.com/clubkayfabe. And any last words, sir?
Be excellent to one another.
That's the best way to end it. We'll see you guys next time.